Hello, everyone, and welcome to another bonus coronavirus edition of the Destination Marketing Podcast. You know, I was wondering how these would be received, and I'm actually amazed at how many listens we're getting on these coronavirus bonus editions. And so it's important to me that if it matters to you guys that we keep it coming, right? So wanted to make sure that we continue to provide valuable insight and information during this process of, you know, everybody's still in self-quarantine and people are being encouraged not to travel, which is definitely a difficult situation for all of us who are in the travel industry. So I wanted to bring you another episode that talks a little bit more about ideas for navigating this time. So first of all, I want to talk about what's going to set you apart when this is all said and done. And I think it comes down to messaging and design, along with innovation and creativity, are going to be the deciding factors in whether or not you are successful when everything heats back up. So those that are working on their messaging and design and innovation and creativity during this time are really going to have a leg up on those scrambling, you know, when people are finally kind of moving around again and starting to spend money on travel. So let's talk about that. Our team has been working tirelessly to come up with some ideas for some of our existing clients, and we wanted to share some of the things that we've come up with that we thought might benefit others that are listening, who are targeting a different audience, or really looking for some inspiration on how to work through this thing. So let me start with some of the ideas that my team has pitched to some of our clients. And one of them that I just love is the idea of helping these local stakeholders within your destination. Because guess what? You as a destination, you have a platform that your local stakeholders don't have. And in the past, you know, they were kind of, while you would feature them and stuff, they were kind of on their own as far as generating revenue for their restaurant or hotel or establishment. And your job was to bring the collective audience that could then make their own decisions to distribute throughout the destination. I would say that has been a little bit flipped on its head. I think now your stakeholders need you more than ever, and you need to make sure that you're doing everything you can to make sure that they can weather this storm. And so one of the ideas that we had that I absolutely love is, what if you have specific dining establishments within your destination and you have a live streaming show of your chef or head cook or whatever it is cooking in their home while they're in quarantine and showing some of the really great dishes that restaurant has to offer. You know, I've talked in the past about my experience at Stock and Barrel in Knoxville, Tennessee. And can you imagine the head cook or chef of that restaurant showing how to make that burger that I had that had blueberry jam on it, which is such a unique burger? I think that would provide such an interesting piece of content for viewers, and also remind them how great the dining establishments are within your destination. So if you have good dining, the idea of, while people can't come eat there right now, you show how great it is and make them want to come eat there when this thing kind of passes. So I thought that was a great idea. I think that's something that lots of destinations with great dining can do. I think it's something that your stakeholders would appreciate. It's an idea that shows proactivity from the destination. And I think most destinations have the means to pull this off, whether it's through the TV production partners that you have, because guess what? They're suffering too, right? And this could be a win-win situation for you, for your TV production partner, and obviously for the restaurant that would benefit from having this content created. And then you share it on your platform. You share it on your social channels. You put a link to it on your website. Once again, this is a time for content creation, for messaging and design updates, and then obviously innovation and creativity. And I think that's a great idea. I've also heard of a lot of different destinations that are building websites that give you real-time, up-to-date information on which restaurants are open, which restaurants are providing curbside service, and which restaurants are providing delivery. And I think that's a great, once again, the responsibility of the destination to take care of those stakeholders who have taken care of the destination for so long. I think that is such a great example of taking leadership with it, or showing leadership within your destination, and showing your stakeholders that you're staying connected to them during this time, even though visitors may not be encouraged to every destination right now. So think about your dining partners, and think about maybe the idea that we've shared of a cooking show. Maybe that's not realistic for you, but how can you showcase your dining establishments for when this thing blows over? And I'm not trying to minimize it when I say this thing blows over, but at some point things are going to return to normal and people are going to be traveling again. The next thing that I would say is, if you have major attractions within your destination, which I would say every destination has a major attraction, because that's why people come to your destination. So what if you could spend this time working on virtual tours? And what I mean by that is we're exercising social distancing, but what if a TV production company or even somebody in your department could go on their own, maybe wear a GoPro, or have one person filming the other person going through the attraction. And whether it's a museum, whether it's a national park, whether it's an outdoor attraction, whatever it is, even if the museum is closed to the public, going in there and creating that content should be something that you can get approved. And so I would definitely recommend creating that virtual content so that people can see what it's like to be there in person. And the real benefit to this is, even long after this coronavirus situation has passed, when you're done with that, let's say you go to trade shows and you want people at the trade show to experience your destination, you now have a video, and you could even turn it into a virtual reality experience where people can experience your destination and decide that, hey, that's where I want to have my convention, that's where I want to have my event, or that's where I want to go with my family. So creating these virtual tours or virtual experiences, it's something you haven't been able to put a lot of attention behind because you've had so much going on over the last several months. My recommendation would be, now is the best time that you've had in a long time to create assets like that have been deprioritized in the past. Another idea that has really resonated with a lot of our clients is, if you've got family travelers that are part of your audience, we have recommended creating a coloring book for children who are stuck at home that highlights parts of your destination. So, for example, we talked on a previous episode, one of my clients is Uintah County, Utah, which is vernal. It's got Dinosaur National Monument in it. And we created these little cartoon characters that are kind of the little spokespeople for the destination. And so we are actively working on coloring pages so that these kids that are stuck at home doing homework, and their parents, I can promise you, because I got 4 kids at home, their parents are searching for ideas of what they can do, especially on a rainy day when they can't go outside and play. So how can you help provide activities that promote your destination but also solve a problem for these parents that could really set you apart for these travelers once people start traveling again? And then those are some really specific ideas, and we've got dozens of these that we've presented over the last several days. Going back to the principle of why we're recommending some of these strategies, this is the time to show leadership. This is the time to really show your stakeholders why you are an important piece of their puzzle, and maybe the most important piece of their puzzle. Use this time to create assets that are going to allow you to have a step ahead on the competition when things free up again. And so this isn't a time to sit back and be worried, a time to complain about what's going on. It's a time to be proactive and do some things that maybe you haven't been able to do before because of time or bandwidth, and really take a step as opposed to just sitting back and waiting. So a couple of other ideas that we had is, Right now, I think for a lot of destinations, direct response advertising, digital advertising, most digital channels, there are some branding digital channels as well, but most of those direct response channels, I would probably recommend turning those off at this moment and changing your messaging to more of a branding play. So one of the things that we talked about is we presented to a couple of our clients is, hey, come visit, but not right now. Or hey, we really want you to come visit, but now's just not a great time. And so it's more of an awareness play, making sure they know about your destination, but it's not, hey, book a room tonight and come down and visit. So I think that change in your creative approach for all of your channels right now is a great way to not necessarily have to go completely dark, but be responsible in your messaging and continue to build awareness. Also a great time, I mentioned this on a previous show, to build your email list so that you have more people who've given you permission to market to them when this is all said and done. This is a quick hit, some creative ideas. We've got a whole bunch more, but I would definitely recommend using this time to be proactive, update your creative and messaging, and it's time to innovate and show some creativity, and especially engaging your stakeholders within your destination, demonstrating leadership, and helping them to succeed in such a difficult time. Thanks, everybody, and we'll keep them coming.